What's up, guys? Giving you another tip here on strumming. Strumming, first of all, as I said in the last few strumming videos, strumming is so hard. Strumming was the hardest thing I had to learn when I was starting to learn and play guitar. And I know it's many of you all's same struggle and challenge. So I wanted to just put together just a bunch of tips and just things that helped me over my guitar journey. So that first lesson, and I'll link it, up top and in the description below if you missed it. It's you got to use a thin pick. You got to use a thin pick because that gives you a little bit more margin for error as opposed to if you were using a very thick pick with no give. So that was the first tip. The second tip was angling your pick. So you have to angle it on the way down. You've got to angle it on the way up. And eventually that'll feel it'll be super natural to you and you won't even think about it. So that was tip number 2. Tip number 3, you can do this literally anywhere. And this is just it's gonna help loosen up your wrist a little bit. Because, I feel like we all probably have kind of a little bit more of tense or firm wrists. And when you're playing guitar, I'm not saying that you have to have the most incredibly flexible and loose wrist, but as when you're strumming and when you're playing, this will be probably my tip number 4, but it's not a whole arm motion when you're strumming. This part of your arm, more or less, is just hanging right there, and then the wrist is doing the rest of the work. Wrist is going up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. So in order this tip and this video, I would do this all the time on my commutes to work. You can do this anywhere really, if you're just hanging out listening to music, or if you're driving, and you can do this with country music, worship music, rock music. I would just be driving on my commutes to and from work, and I would just, I would get my fingers in the position as if I was holding a pick, and I would just, have my right arm on that middle console, and I would just be driving, and I would just be going to the beat of whatever the song was, and I was just going back, and I would just go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and over time, your wrist, it's gonna do 2 things. Your wrist will loosen up a little bit. And again, I'm not saying you need to have some insanely flexible wrist or loose wrist to play and help you with strumming. Again, these are all just kind of a combination and a culmination of a bunch of things, a bunch of tips that I've kind of learned over the years myself. So this is gonna be one piece of the puzzle that's gonna help you strum easier. You're gonna loosen that wrist. And also, when you're listening to the song, you're gonna get dialed in. You're gonna really get synced in with the tempo of the song, with the beat of the song, with just kind of following along with the drums and with the piano. So it's really gonna train your ear in a good way to make you be able to hear things better as a musician. But again, for some of my commutes, I would just be hanging out, listening to worship music, loosening up that wrist, man. Just kind of going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Because that's literally just the same motion that you're doing when you play guitar. Back and forth. That the wrist, it's not going crazy. It's just you're right here. The wrist is going up and down and up and down. And with acoustic, as kind of a rhythm acoustic player, you want to just be smooth, man. You just kind of want to be hanging out, adding some nice rhythm to what's going on. And as you can see, my arm, it's not going all over the place. Now, I will say this, there are times when I can really get ripping on the acoustic depending on the song. If it's a huge song or we got a huge build going, I might be, really going at it. But more or less, I'm gonna be just staying right here. So when you start putting together some of these tips, like that first tip, which was, you know, a thin pick, the second tip, angling your pick, this third tip, you can practice this again anywhere. Like even if I was just sitting right here listening to a song, I could just be sitting here like this, following the beat of the song and just kind of listening to the flow of the song and getting that rhythm dialed in and loosening up that wrist. So when you put some of these tips all together, you know, it's going to take a little while. Like I always say in most of my lessons, like if playing guitar was easy, everyone would do it. Everyone would be an acoustic guitar, you know, teacher, rock star, whatever you want to call it. But sometimes you got to work and you got to practice all these little things, and eventually these little things will add up and they'll eventually just connect and they'll all come together at some point. So that is a really good one, that tip, something that you don't necessarily have to be playing your guitar to do. You can do it anywhere. So anyways, if you have questions, let me know. You know, I love connecting with you guys, love interacting with you, love helping you guys on this channel. So I've got some more strumming tips coming up, but you know, if you are just a beginner, or maybe you've been playing for a little while and you're just, you know, you're just struggling to have that rhythm and you're just struggling to get that smooth strumming, go back to these tips. Thin pick, angle the pick, and then just kind of work on the wrist. So anyways, hope this helps you guys out. If you have questions, let me know what's up. Love you guys. Have a good day. Have a good week. And I'll catch you in the next one.